Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the Fan Cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Always here 7 nights a week at your service. So call and air your opinions at 412-575-2600. Hit me up on Twitter at KDPomp. I'm riding solo tonight, so it's you and me. If you have a question, call and let's talk. And there's a lot to talk about as the Steelers qualify for the playoffs because of a Jacksonville loss today. Tennessee took it to them, and they beat them down there 28-20, so that means the Steelers do get in. It's one of the two things they needed to happen, so it didn't even matter what happened in the Buffalo game, although what matters in the Buffalo game is the outcome. The Steelers will play on Saturday night if Miami wins that game. They'll play Saturday in Kansas City. And if Buffalo should win, then the game will be, and this is what we're hoping for, 1 o'clock Sunday on KDKA, because we'll dress it all up with pregame shows and postgame shows and all that sort of thing. So at this point, Miami is leading that game. Buffalo needs to respond. They wasted an opportunity right at the end of the first half. They did that earlier this year against Dallas in the game, and so Josh Allen threw what looked like it could have been a touchdown pass, but they had no timeouts. It ran out and blah. They left points on the board. So it's 14-7. And again, Miami's playing without a lot of people in that game with injury, and Buffalo's had their share of injuries tonight. So I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? Your thoughts about the chances of the Pittsburgh Steelers heading on the road no matter where they go. If you want to be really optimistic and look what it would be like to get to the Super Bowl, they would have to win their final 6 road games. 3 here at the end of the season, and then 3 into the playoffs. They are right now the worst odds of getting to the Super Bowl, but hey, we've been down this road before. I remember 2005 when the Jerome Bettis-led Steelers beat Chicago in that snow and got this. They were 7-5 at the time, not much chance to get in and do what they did. Went on the road, won all the road games, and then ended up winning the Super Bowl. So you never know. That's why they play the game. And right now the question also is, what is the situation at quarterback? To me, it's fait accompli. Mason Rudolph starts, period. End of story. We'll see what Mike Tomlin says in his press conference this week. It'll either be tomorrow at noon here on KDK Plus or Tuesday at noon, depending on the outcome again of this game and when they play. If it's Saturday, the press conference is tomorrow. If it's Sunday, the press conference will be on Tuesday. A lot of questions about who's available, who's not. TJ Watt, the news came out today, grade 2 strain of his MCL. That's a 2-week process or more, according to Jerry Dulac of the Post-Gazette, our Steelers insider. So that puts him out of this week's game. And then you wonder, how effective can they be without him? They're going to have to be, especially a guy like Josh Allen. If it's that opponent, he's capable of running. He is tied with Jalen Hurts for most rushing touchdowns among quarterbacks this year with 15. So he's not only a threat with his arm, but also his legs. And I ask you, which would you rather see? Pittsburgh at Kansas City, Pittsburgh at Buffalo. Buffalo just tied the game on a punt return. So now it's interesting if they should win the game again, it'd be in Buffalo. And it's supposed to be a cold day, not as cold as what Kansas City would be on Saturday night. So we have a lot to get into there. But the Steelers, say what you want about the way they went about this, but they knew they had to win these games. They did. Mason Rudolph, got to give him full marks for what he's been able to do. To come in cold, he didn't take a snap last year as the third-string quarterback other than scout team. Same thing this year up until the injury to Kenny Pickett. And then he got into the game at Indy in a mop-up role, and he took over after that, and he's been great. And the thing that really, and he wasn't, in the bad conditions in Baltimore, it was very difficult. Ball control, ball security is going to be a problem. Both teams had issues with that. But, his ability to put the ball where he has to put the ball down the field has made them, basically had to keep honest how they approach the Steelers' run game. You can't load a box. You can't do it when you have one-on-one coverage to the outside, knowing that Mason Rudolph can put the ball where he has to put it. You have to respect that. Therefore, the run game has been cranking like it hasn't cranked all year, and that's a tough – I tell you, the Steelers could pull an upset or two the way they're playing right now if they stay away from mistakes. It's going to be fascinating. Real quick, I'm going to give you the rundown of what the schedule looks like at this point. Saturday, you'll have a doubleheader. The first one will be Cleveland at Houston. And watch out for Houston, the way they're playing. And C.J. Stroud was outstanding yesterday. That'll be on NBC, a 4:30 game. At 8 o'clock, again, it's either going to be Pittsburgh and Kansas City, or it'll be Miami at Kansas City. And then on Sunday at 1, we're hoping it's Steelers-Buffalo at 1 o'clock, or it could be the other way around. We'll see how that goes, and it could be Buffalo and Miami in a rematch. 4:30 on NFC game. It's Green Bay and Dallas. And Green Bay, boy, Jordan Love did a great job getting his team into the playoffs. He was outstanding today. Dallas is hot. Philadelphia has imploded, so they fell out of it. Sunday night, this is the game I'm going to be watching closely. It's the Rams and the Lions. Stafford against Goff. They were traded for one another, and here they will be playing in high-stakes poker in Detroit Ford Field. That'll be an unbelievable game. And then on Monday night, number 5, Philadelphia against number 4, Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield and company. And Todd Bowles wins his 3rd straight division in the weakest division there is. By the way, the AFC North, the best division. All 4 teams finished above 500. That's the first time that's happened since 1935. We're due for a break. Your calls are next. 412-575-2600. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call on KDKA+. All right, welcome back. This is our GMC Sierra Tweet of the Night, or X of the Night. NFL, CBS, TJ Watt. How about this? Led the NFL in sacks in 2020, led the NFL sacks in 2021, and leads the NFL sacks in 2023. Missed 7 games in 2022. That, to me, is your Defensive Player of the Year. It should be. I mean, 19 sacks, 19 tackles for losses. He's active in the pass game, had an interception, a defensive touchdown, 4 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, and a partridge in a pear tree. It should be TJ Watt, but I know people up in Cleveland think it should be Myles Garrett. Both outstanding players, but I got to give the vote to Watt based on what he means to this particular defense and the numbers he's put up on a consistent basis. All right, let's get to the lines. Ty in Penn Hills, you're first up tonight. Ty, what's going on?
Hey, Bob. Thanks for taking my call. Happy New Year to you and your family.
Thank you. You too.
Got a quick question for you in your take. I wanted to find out, I'm concerned if the playoffs about more the defense than the offense. I think they're peaking at the right time on the offense with Mason and getting the offense consistency. The defense, I'm hoping they would be healthy enough with TJ possibly not being able to play and being the main component to the defense going into the playoffs. I think the defense is going to be very important because of the competition that some of the other teams are out there in the AFC, and I wanted to get your take on that.
Thanks, Ty. Well, what I think is, number one, Minkah Fitzpatrick will be back, and that should be a help. DeMonte KZ, I believe, is at the end of his suspension, so he'll be back. But I'll tell you, those guys who came in, as Mike Tomlin said, off the couch, have done an outstanding job. Eric Rowe is a keeper to me. I thought he's been outstanding. A guy like Michael Walker, good support guy. He's not a starter, but he's somebody who could certainly help. I think Miles Jack came back off the couch and done a really good job. So I think they've been holding it together, but what makes it better for them is an offense that possesses the football because they're not on the field as much. If they're on the field an awful lot like they were in the first half of the season, I think you're going to give up a lot of points just because of attrition. So the offense needs to possess the football, do what it's been doing, run the football. That's the hallmark of this team right now. And when opportunities present themselves, take shots down the field. All right, let's go out to Brian in Carnegie. Brian, welcome to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. What's up?
Hey, Bob. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for calling.
Good. Hey, real quick, before I just pose my question, I just want to say you're the best in town, man. Always been.
Yeah, you're very kind. There are a lot of good people. I'm honored that you think that way, though. Thanks.
No, you are. Real quick, I might be in the minority, and I might even make you kind of think twice on this one, hopefully. But I would rather take our chances to go to Kansas City right now. I think right now with the way Kansas City has been playing this year and with the losses they sustained, I think they're a team that can be a little bit more had, so to say, than to go up to Western New York and play in that atmosphere. So, I think with Mahomes having not his greatest season, his receiving core not being what it was, I think that kind of bodes well for the Steelers and the type of defense they play with especially with their pass protection.
Listen, I agree. I think Kansas City's not what they used to be. There's no question. They've struggled offensively. In the last few weeks, you've seen upset Patrick Mahomes on the sidelines, throwing temper tantrums. There have been a lot of confusion, a lot of finger pointing, a lot of drop balls in their pass game. And if you make those plays, it's a whole different year for, I think, Pat Mahomes. But he's still Patrick Mahomes. That worries me. And that venue, Then you have to deal with Taylor Swift. Sorry, I like Taylor, but I'm tired of this whole drama. Meanwhile, Buffalo, the thing about them is, Josh Allen is a turnover machine. Yes, he puts up big numbers. Yes, he's capable of just dominating a game with his feet, with his arm. But he does throw the ball into coverage quite a bit and takes chances. That could bode well for them. Plus, if it's in Buffalo, I suspect that would turn into a run game. They would try to run it as much as the Steelers would, and I think the Steelers right now have an advantage in that regard. But either or, it's a tough assignment, especially on the road. But I would prefer Buffalo myself. And they're tied right now after a punt return. So they have to win that game. I'd love for it to be on KDKA on Sunday and not Saturday night. Peacock. Let's go out to Chuck in Uniontown. Joins us on line one. Hey, Chuck.
Thanks, Paul. Good again, and Happy New Year. So you would prefer going to Buffalo Sunday, Bob? One other thing, if it's on Peacock Saturday night, what network around here?
No, it'll be locally on Channel 11.
Oh, Channel 11. So both games Saturday will be on Channel 11.
Yes. But again, all due respect, I just wish that Buffalo would win and we ended up getting a game on Sunday at 1. It's better for our business. But I also think people are conditioned to have, although I do like night games, don't get me wrong. I don't know if I want Kansas City, Arrowhead on a Saturday night. It's supposed to be like 10 degrees there as well. So, that could be an issue. They don't have much going on. They do have Travis Kelce. And say what you want. He hasn't played well the last 5 weeks, but, he's Travis Kelce in the middle of the field. That's been a problem for the Steelers time and time again this year, and I think it would be in this game as well. But then again, you got Dawson Knox and you got Dalton Kincaid. Those are two big tight ends in Buffalo. They utilize those guys. So tight ends are going to be a big problem for the Steelers. The Steelers should hope Patrick Freiermuth is a big problem for the other team because they need to utilize him more than they did. Just 2 catches, 21 yards yesterday. All right, let's go out to Gene in Florida. Gene, welcome. How are you tonight? Gene, just pay attention to the phone, not your TV, please. Oh, Gene, darn it, you're down in Florida. I wanted to get you on. Let's go to Judy, downtown Pittsburgh. Hey, Judy, how are you?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, why didn't Tomlin bench Pickett weeks ago? He hasn't been playing good for a long time. And other head coaches bench players.
Well, I have more of a problem with just him automatically going to Trubisky as much as he did. And I know it has a lot to do with the fact that he was the backup. They gave him a lot of money. They gave him another contract in this past offseason. I think Mitch Trubisky will be not on this roster next year. I think very worst case scenario for Mason Rudolph, he'll be the primary backup to Kenny Pickett, but I think he would love to be a starter. And I think if he continues to play well, and let's assume he goes into wherever he goes in this weekend, plays real well, win or lose, I got to believe that he's going to say, look, I want a legitimate chance of starting next year, and he should be given that. It should be an open competition and a legitimate one based on how he's played. I mean, whatever happens in the preseason will never duplicate the pressure that he's faced over the last 3 must-win situations and now in the playoffs. Can Kenny Pickett do well in the playoffs? I'm not going to give up on him for sure. I still see some talent in him. He just needs to not vacate the pocket maybe as much as he does. They led the NFL in 3 and outs early, but that was with Matt Canada in charge. And I think Mike Sullivan has done a better job calling plays. But then again, the execution comes from the quarterback who makes plays down the field. If you do that, the playbook opens up, and so does the defense on the other side of the field. Let's go to Frank in Coriopolis. Frank, welcome. How are you?
Good evening, Bob.
Hi.
The one thing I have watching the game yesterday, I had the one big worry I have about the playoffs now. One of the main knock against Canada when he was here, in fact, you had comments from Cincinnati's defense in the past year or two, Cincinnati's defense and Houston's defense, that we know what you guys are going to do. Yesterday, they did most of that run on first down, run on second down, pass. Run on first down, run on second down, pass. In fact, I was in the bar watching this, and some women were sitting at the end of the bar, and they weren't like the most knowledgeable football fans, but they kept on yelling to the screen, change the plays, change the plays.
Well,
going up against a more quality team is run on first down, run on second down, and then they blitz you on third down because they know you're going to pass. Is that going to work?
Well, I think, Frank, also the weather conditions played a role in how play call went yesterday. So I'm not going to immediately just throw that out. I think that was a big part of what they were trying to do. Run the ball, don't turn it over, slippery. You saw some of the things that happened when the ball became slippery, and I think they wanted to stay away from that. But I thought the game-winning score, which was the best play of the day, 71 yards to Deontay Johnson, was a really good cut on the wet turf, plus a good throw by Mason Rudolph to split the defense. But he also used his eyes to move the safety over a little bit toward Pat Freiermuth, which created the vacancy there. All right, we'll do for a break. We'll take it. Terry in Canonsburg, you're going to be next up. When I come back, this is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We're live on KDKA+.